Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here. Today we've got a 2009 Club Car President that we're going to be installing a voltage gauge on. Now the ones that I like to install are these little round ones, or they're 2 inches in diameter. Make sure it says 48 volt on the back, which this card is. And these are what they call analog gauges. So you got a positive and negative that goes in there. They're pretty much easy to read there if you can understand it. So there's E to the left and F to the right, and then it's CHG in the white, and then a red to the right. So essentially what you want, that CHG stands for state of the charge. And I always like, whenever the batteries are fully charged, I like for that meter to be up in the white somewhere. But I've laid everything out here to make it easy and quickly here. So we've got, I'm gonna need two adapters here, the gauge. We need a T30, a T15, and then we're gonna need a 5/16, a 2-inch hole saw with a drill. And there's already a little dimple right there. I don't know if you can see that, but this is where I'm going to place it at. I know a lot of guys put them over here on these warning stickers and all that, but aesthetically, I think it looks better here. And there's already a little indentation there for you to place your drill and drill that hole out. All right, so I got the hole in there. You can remove this if you want and then do the hole. This is the T15. Put it in there, and then the T30. Take out this bolt, and this bolt. All right, so I got those bolts that are removed there. So this thing sort of just pops out like this, and there's all of our wiring. Okay, so on the Club Car President, you're going to have, this is the lights here. There's going to be two wires stuck down here. These two wires right here is what I need. There's a red there and then a black with that yellow, like whitish chaser on it. These are my voltage wires here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to change those connectors because they're a little smaller and they're going to plug in there. On the Club Car President, you already have that laying there. So let's go ahead and get those changed out, and then I'll put the gauge in here. Now on the bottom of this right here, it does have a plus and a minus. I've already marked the minus because my eyes aren't very good and I had to use a flashlight. But there is a plus sign here, which is your positive, and a negative sign right there. Also, I was going to remind you, make sure your key switch is off and your cart's in tow. It usually pops right in with a little bit of push to it there, but you can see that pretty much got it in there. And now I'm going to put the hanger on there. That goes on like that. These are the small little nuts here that hold it on the back here. These don't have to be crazy tight either. They've got that little washer, the little star washer on the back. We're going to hook up our positive. The positive obviously goes on this one here. And then our negative will go on the one that I have marked. Okay. All right, and that's pretty much it on a Club Car President. These wires will be laying right there. Provided that you don't have a Club Car President, you have to run a negative and positive from the battery pack. And most of the time, what I usually do is I jump the positive to the key switched power, which is normally this blue wire. Like a Club Car DS, I'll take the positive and I'll run to the key switch on the switched power, and then I'll run a separate ground all the way back to the battery pack. I'm going to try to set this thing back up in there, make sure that you've got all your wires sort of tucked out of the way like that. And then it takes a little bit of finagling around, but there's so much going on back there. But make sure those two little tabs there are in. All the tabs are in at the top here, and that looks like it's good. Start with this little one, the little star 15 first. Usually try to line it up. If that lines up, then most of the time those other two will line up. Okay, then I'll put the star 30s in. All right, that's pretty much it there. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn the run tow switch on and see if this thing works. All right. Oh, there we go. Run tow switch is on, and as you can see, it works. There we go. So this is working now, but you see how nice and neat that looks. Remember, I told you that I like to see that in the CHG, the charge, or the state of the charge area. Typically, what I do is I try to tell my customers, If you get on this golf cart and this thing's sitting at about 11 o'clock, like midways between the E and the F, this thing's about dead. So do not drive it. I always recommend charging the golf cart after every use and keeping this up in the white. Now that's gonna go back and forth, obviously, whenever you are driving back and forth because it's reading the charge in the golf cart. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Club Car President 2009. Most of the Club Car Presidents are like that. It's going to have those two wires laying there. So it's really, really easy for you to just plug into. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. And if you like these kind of videos, like and subscribe. Thank you.